Want to know how to have a fresh smelling and squeaky clean butt before riding?
Of course
I'm going to tell you how. Get hooked up with Dude Wipes, flushable wet wipes. Oh yeah. Your butt will smell like a breath of fresh air, Lurch. The mint ones are like a breath mint for your ass.
Yeah, they are. You know, you've been saying that for a while, and I don't know if I was really believing it, but now that I've been using them for a while, I agree.
Really is.
Yeah.
We're trying to use up the fragrance-free.
Oh, yeah.
They work fine.
They work
just as well. Great. But it doesn't leave you with that little hop in your step. Oh, yeah, your butt, that's right, will smell, like I say, breath of fresh air. Support us. Head over to lawabidingbiker.com/fresh-butt, B-U-T-T. No additional cost to you, but we do get a small commission if you click through and make a purchase, and we appreciate your support. Again, get hooked up with the Dude Wipes, lawabidingbiker.com/fresh-butt. Want to ride longer?
Yep.
Tired of a sore and achy ass?
You know it.
Talking of asses and butts here. Then fix it with a high-quality butt buffer seat cushion. Head over to lawabidingbiker.com/store. Check out our full line of butt buffer seat cushions. And if you're going to sit on a butt buffer seat cushion, why not have a minty fresh ash?
Why not?
A pack of Dude Wipes and a butt buffer. Your ass will thank you.
This podcast has gotten way too ass-centric.
It is. You want to read this email from patron member Brad Johnston of Oregon?
Absolutely. This is from Brad Johnson. Like you mentioned, he's talking about our recent fuel pump and fuel filter replacement that we did. The video may or may not be out, depending
by
on
the
when
time this comes out.
Most likely it will, but if it's not out, it's coming out. But we had done a job on Fuente's bike where we replaced his fuel pump. It was whining, making some noise. The kit that he bought came with like pretty much everything: pump, regulator, filter, all kinds of stuff. So we did that. And when we were also doing some work on Brad's bike, we're like, hey, dude, your pump's making the same noise that Fuente's was. You might want to replace yours. So we hooked him up with the unlisted video so we can get through it. Anyways, here's what he has to say. Just finished doing the fuel pump replacement with the unpublished video you guys shared while I was up there. Not too bad of a job. It looked complicated, and I wasn't sure my meat hooks would fit in the tank opening. Yeah, he's a large human, and that is a small hole to get all that stuff into. Your video certainly made it easier. Following just the service manual would have left me wondering about a lot of things. This is a great video. Made my life so much easier. With the video, it was sweat-free because I saw tips on how to get those hoses on. Without the video, there were no instructions in the parts except a warning about the small line. By the way, I ended up getting the V-twin pump through BDK. That's Big Daddy Kane for all you out there. Because the Amazon link was out of stock. That's a link to the system that Fuente used. They're out of stock, of course. So the V-twin pump comes with two lines already attached to the pump. You just have to connect the other ends to the third pump that connects to the outside bracket. Getting the parts for this was the tough part. So it must not just be the other
supply chain.
Yeah, it's lots of issues. So I got one of the last two fuel pumps available through BDK. The fuel regulator shipped from another warehouse, and he wasn't sure if the pump included the strainer, so it came from somewhere else. BDK couldn't get the fuel filter, so I ended up getting one from JP Cycles. 4 packages from 2 vendors trickled in over a week. BDK beat J&P by about 3 days. Attaboy, Rick. Thanks again. You guys sure lived up to your mission statement with this one. Bikers helping bikers.
There you go. lawabidingbiker.com/contact. You can leave us an email like this or, of course, a voicemail. We love to hear your voices. And, you might make a podcast. It brings up another interesting point. Do not forget a couple things that I take from this that I want to tell you guys. Number one is that, our store, we have a lot of things listed on our actual store, but we actually can get a whole bunch more stuff through our distributorships. So if you need stuff like that and we don't have it on our store, you can email us. You can just go over to lawabidingbiker.com/store, hit up the contact form over there, and BDK, Big Daddy Kane, and Goat will help you out down there, guys. The other thing here is if you are a top tier patron member, and we have a lot of our for purchase videos, and Obviously, if you're a top tier member, you can request any of our premium videos over at lawabidingbiker.com/buy videos, and we will send you a link to watch it for free. Now, we've been very busy and we're putting out a lot of content, and you may hear on a podcast like today's podcast. And as Brad Johnston did, he heard from another podcast, or actually he heard because he was up here.
Right.
And we said, oh yeah, we just did a bearings video. So what I'm getting at is I'm uploading a lot of videos, but we don't put out the videos right when we upload them. We trickle stuff out, obviously, so we have a continuous stream of content coming out. So if you are a top tier member, patron member, and you say, hey, I heard on a podcast you guys have XYZ video and it's not out yet, you could certainly ask us, and we will send you a unpublished YouTube link.
Oh, yeah.
We'd be happy to do that like we did for Brad, and you can at least watch it. If you're like, I need to do a fuel pump and fuel filter right now, and you know from a podcast is the only way you're going to find out, because we promote our videos on the podcast. Certainly top tier or above. You have to be top tier member or above, just like our premium videos, and we'll certainly send you a link to watch it now and do your project now before it comes out to the public. Happy to do that. Lurch will take care of you.
Yes, I will.
Here's the deal. You ready to go on a trip? You're in the Law Abiding Biker store, on the interwebs. I need that part.
How did you know?
I know. You're drinking.
How did you know?
We encourage you to drink while shopping in the Law Abiding Biker store. Good decisions, good purchases decisions. The best ones made are when you're at least 3-4 whiskeys in. And here's the deal. You're 3-4 whiskeys in. You're like, I need that part in my life. You pull out your pockets. You don't want to ask the old lady for money because she's going to get pissed off at you that you're even shopping again. Lint, maybe 1 penny in your pocket. Lurch, what to do? You now have the option. That's right. You can buy it right freaking now. Just push the buy button because you can pay in 4 equal payments, interest-free. That shop pay installments integrated right into the Law Abiding Biker store. Hey, Bikerholics, 03D has a wide variety of innovative products for your Harley-Davidson and a brand new line for the all-new Honda Goldwing named Gold Strike.
I like gold.
Top quality, affordable chrome lighting and comfort products. Zero Gold Strike are the motorcycle LED lighting innovators for CAN bus plug-and-play system compatibility. Head over to lawabidingbiker.com/store. Check out our full line of 03D products. Oh yeah, once you've had Rick Rack, you'll never go back. The ultimate motorcycle luggage rack solution. Forget those messy straps and bungee cords. Go strapless with the Rick Rack quick attach luggage system and quality bag. Head over to lawabidingbiker.com/store. Get hooked up now. We use the heck out of those things. Just returned a week ago, maybe 2 weeks ago. I can't remember now. A week ago from our 4,000-mile trip to Minnesota.
A week ago,
yeah. Just been a week. And we absolutely love the Rick Rack system, especially the new model we have. And with the bag and the rack and roller wheels and all come and put together for you. Due to supply chain issues, you might want to get those when you can from our store because there are supply chain issues, and we are actually at the time of this podcast sold out, but keep checking back at the Law Abiding Biker store. You'll want to get hooked up with the Rick Rack roller system as soon as we get them back in stock, because they go quick with current supply chain issues going on across industries. All right, let's do this. Welcome back, you freaking bikeaholics. This is the podcast for the motorcycle majority, the Big MM, also known as the
99%.
Large and in charge of the motorcycle scene more than any time in history. By listening, you're part of what we call the hashtag
Biker Revolution.
We have just one question for you. What are you waiting for, bikeaholics?
Mount up and let us take you on another wild-ass ride.
There you go. Welcome back, everybody. Ryan Erlacher here, your host of the Law Abiding Biker podcast and your
high-tech redneck.
There you go. Got a great episode for you guys. Recently installed Ohlins Suspension, both front and rear, on my 2014 Street Glide Special. Of course, we filmed it all. And yes, those videos are actually, I was editing a little bit this morning. So hopefully by the time this podcast comes out, we'll at least have them uploaded, maybe not published. But again, As I stated earlier, if you're that top tier patron and above and you know that we have it uploaded, it's just not out, well, certainly hit us up for that unpublished link and we will share. It's going to be a very detailed installation videos. We're going to go through it on this episode, and it doesn't just refer completely to Ohlins suspension, but it can help you out in a lot of different scenarios because a lot of these suspensions install the same. We're going to go through the process and kind of what we learned as we were doing it. And of course, I'm going to give a full review because I got to ride those babies 4,000 miles across multiple states, across some really shitty roads too, I might add. And I will give you my full review and what I think of Ohlins suspension. Yes, we're excited to announce we will be carrying quality Ohlins suspension right in the law-abiding biker store. And when I say quality, Ohlins suspension is definitely high quality. But we'll get into that in a little bit. We do want to announce a new free video, or Lurch does.
Our new free video is, do these Harley Boombox GTS Apple CarPlay jumper plugs really work? And what we're talking about is a little plug that plugs into the gray port inside your fairing that you would normally attach your WIM to, and it's got a little jumper on it that makes your GTS, so your 2019 and newer bikes with the GTS radio, it makes the bike think that there's a WIM attached to it. Therefore, you can plug in your iPhone via a cable to the from Lightning to USB-A to the USB in the bike, and then it will project your iPhone onto your screen. You get some limited functionality. What you're missing is the ability to listen and talk to Siri and use headsets and all that kind of stuff. But you can access your Google Maps, your iTunes, or whatever you want, and it'll play through the speaker. So it gives you some functionality, but not all of that. All of it, and for some of you, that's all you want. So we got that new video out, kind of talks about the pluses and the negatives of that. And it's
definitely go watch the video, guys. That was a little good overview of it, but there's obviously a bit more to it than that. And it's a very quick, succinct video. It's like 8 minutes. Mm-hmm. It'll let you know everything you need to know on the pros and cons of those jumpers and whether it's for you or if you want to go with the full meal deal. Over at lawabidingbiker.com/Harley-boom-box-jumper, or just search Boombox Jumper on our website or the YouTube channel. They both have search boxes and you will come up with that video. Of course, it'll be in the show notes, lawabidingbiker.com/whatever episode number this is. As always, how you get to the show notes with all the links and things that we talked about. Now, we love our sponsors up front, certainly, but these folks are also a direct reason. They are sponsors. Some of our newest patron members that we want to thank, bringing this episodes to you after 9.5 years.
We'd like to thank Andy Schreier of Buffalo Mills, Pennsylvania, Danny Taylor of Shelley, Idaho, and Roy Miller of Riverside, Illinois.
Bill Harborn of Baldwin Harbor, New York, Jack McDonald, Jason Nunemaker of Lacey, Washington, right here in Washington State.
Dennis Morris of Talkeetna, Alaska, Steve Taft of Statesville, North Carolina, and Doug Sells of Allard, Tennessee.
Lawabidingbiker.com/Patreon, Patreon. Pledge a certain amount per piece of content. No risk to you. That's right, because you can put a monthly cap that stays within your budget. There are benefits for becoming a member, such as t-shirts and stickers. You get access to the private Facebook group, which is a troll-free zone. Nothing but bikers helping bikers. Access to live video broadcasts and chat podcasts, early premium videos, and, of course, access to those ride, meetup, and events. There you go. We want to thank all of our patron members and appreciate everybody ramping it up here in 2022 and always adding benefits like you heard right here on this podcast, because we've never had so much content ahead of schedule in the bucket that's just not released. And we want to take care of patron members, of course. So with that said, let's dive in. And so I'll start this out, Lurch.
Okay.
So I have a 2014 Street Glide Special. Of course, that's my main bike, the touring, one you guys have seen on many, many videos, amber whiskey color. And we don't get the opportunity a lot here. I shouldn't say a lot, but here's the deal. We end up doing a lot of projects and on other people's bikes, and mine tends to get neglected, and I know Lurch's does too. And I had been wanting, over the years, the stock suspension on Harleys is okay. It has gotten better over the years. I remember back to my 2011 and it had the air suspension. Always crap. My previous police bike had the air suspension. It was always leaking, and you always had to adjust it. And I'm just wasn't never a big fan. Well, then they moved to the, manually adjustable suspension. And it got better in 2014 with Rushmore Project when they came out with those bikes. And it was definitely an upgrade, but it's never been great. And even the new Harleys, and I think it goes for Indian too. I will say that. And I'm sure other bikes too. I'm not just saying those two, but we all know that. Even cars, guys get trucks, they upgrade suspension. It depends on what you're doing and what kind of ride and feel. I mean, they're going to put decent suspension in stock vehicles and stock motorcycles. I think that's fair to say. And you can always upgrade. Now, I put it off for many years just because we were doing other projects. I will tell you that, yes, my 2014, when I would hit dips and things, potholes, it would remind me, slap in the face that this suspension is not great. And of course, I can bottom it out. But it got me by many years, cross country, thousands and thousands of miles. But I really wanted to upgrade it. And so we started looking into suspensions. Lurch did a lot of research, and I'll let him talk here in a minute. But I decided to go with Ohlins. And Ohlins, if you guys know that name, is a big name in the suspension industry. They are no joke. It's not the cheapest suspension, but it is high quality. And I'm not kidding. When this stuff got shipped to me finally and I got my hands on it, my nips, Lurch, went full mast.
Did they?
Oh, God. They went full mast, and they were poking through my shirt. I was so excited, but it is quality, get your hands on it. And, we wanted to bring it to the law-abiding biker store. Of course, I wanted to test it, which has been thoroughly tested now, and there's no doubt it's going in our store for sure. Progressive is the other suspension, and I'll let Lurch talk about his suspension because he's going to upgrade his, but I'll let you talk about that. Progressive suspension, in our store. We have done some Legends installs. We don't have access to that.
Not yet.
It's not yet. Someday maybe. It's a fine suspension, and we've installed it, and guys have ridden it. I will tell you that Ohlins is as good, if not better, than Legends. I'm just telling you that we've had experiences with both of it. But not to say Legends is bad at all. It's just I think that Ohlins, in some ways, my opinion, is a little bit better, but that doesn't mean, again, Legends is bad in any way. We will have Ohlins available in our store. I went with, we'll talk more about what I went with here in a moment and get in a little bit deeper about what front suspension and why we went with what we did. Lurch did all the research on this so he can attest to this. And then, of course, rear suspension. At the very end or near the end of the podcast, I'll give you my review and overview of it. But right now, we want to dive into maybe a little bit of the, I guess Ohlins too, you put in here, which is a good point, Lurch, is obviously they're high quality. As we know, just like, companies like Rockford Fosgate and things like that, Harley doesn't go into usually relationships without it being high quality, minus the Harman Kardon whole debacle with the boombox system. I think they learn from that don't go with half-baked companies. But King of the Baggers, obviously partnership with HD, and you've got Screaming Eagle suspension from Ohlins, branded Harley now. And so it's a no joke company, and we're very proud and happy, especially after it's on my bike. I smile every time I get on it. And go from there, Lurch. Kind of some of your, you do need to, let's talk about, why you picked what you picked for me and, some of the things that people need to take into account, and then maybe just a little bit of pricing. As much as we can here. Okay.
Yeah, there is some Ohlins stuff that you can get through Harley-Davidson, but we are a Ohlins dealer, and so we went through our distributor, and ours isn't the HD brand of stuff. It's straight from Ohlins himself.
What Lurch is saying is it's the same exact suspension without the Harley tax.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
You can get it much cheaper through us.
I was trying to be politically correct.
Right.
But,
I am not PC.
Good. I'm glad you're not. So when we started looking at your suspension, we wanted to, you love that 2014 Street Glide Special. Great motor, great chassis, all that. Like I said, the suspension, not great to start with, and it's got worse over time. We decided to do Ohlins on yours, and we'll do progressive on mine. We sell both. But getting
Lurch's 15 Road Glide Special.
Essentially the same bike other than a shark nose and a bat wing. But we started looking at it, and you said, I don't know, just give me whatever you think we should have on it. I'm too busy.
Yeah,
I don't
right.
have time to look at this stuff.
Chief Operations Officer.
What I decided to go with for you on the front end is their Harley NIX, that's NIX, 22 cartridge kit. And what this is it's a cartridge system that goes inside your front forks versus just having springs only. And by having the cartridges, you can slow the compression and the rebound. So in this particular system, the left side of your bike will be the compression and the right will be the rebound. And that you can tell by looking at the two different cartridges. One says COMP on the top, the other one says REB on the top cap. And then also on the cartridges themselves, if you scroll down a little bit so I make sure I get this right, just because I'm going a little out of order, which I tend to do right there. On the compression side, the oil bleed hole is on the top of that cartridge, and then on the rebound side, it's on the bottom. So essentially your left side is slowing down when you hit a bump, and then as you're bouncing back up, the right side's adjusting. So you got a lot of tunability with that system, and I just figured that that was the best one they have right now, and you deserve it, buddy.
Well, thank you.
So that gave us the ability to adjust preload. It gave us the ability to adjust the dampening. And one thing to mention with these kits is the springs come separate. So Ohlins has an outstanding web page, and they have a chart that you can fill out and put all your information in there, and they'll tell you which ones you should go with, which springs. But there's essentially a standard duty, a heavy duty, and then like a super duty spring.
And we'll be linking to that when we get it in our store. We'll link to the weight guide for you, so you can just buy from our store and go direct through to that guide.
And there is a little more little cheaper version of these. Let me back up here. So you can go with either the NIX kit, which we went with, and right now it's around $819 at the time of this podcast, or you can go with they call it their cartridge kit, but it's not a huge savings. That's still $800 or $780. So for me, I figured we'd go with a little bit more adjustability and ease of adjustment. So that's why we went with the.
What's the other one lacking? Dampening? Adjustment or?
Well, you had to ask me that, and I didn't.
Oh, sorry. That's all right. If we don't, we can look it up later.
It just doesn't. It has the adjustability. It's just not as easy to adjust.
Oh, okay.
And so went with that one because that one we can get in there and adjust it. We'll have to get a little bit of your inner dash out of the way and whatnot, but we can adjust the dampening and the rebound.
Take the fork cap bolts off, right?
Quite easy. No, don't even have to.
Oh, no, that's because we got new cap bolts and they got the adjustment on the top. That's right. Yeah, that's what makes it easy. So you can adjust
your preload by just turning that 14 millimeter nut on top, and then the dampening, there's I think it's 2.5 or 3 millimeter.
Yeah.
So that's Allen inside, and you can turn that. So a lot of adjustability. So we decided to go with that NIX 22 kit, and really impressed with it. For the few extra bucks that it is over the standard cartridge kit, I would go with that NIX 22.
Yeah, you're spending that much anyways, man.
Yeah,
you're putting that much money into your bike. You want the best. That's it.
So, do you want to talk about what we chose for the rear? Do you want to kind of get into the job of this first?
Yeah, let's get into the job of this, and then the rear obviously are a lot easier to install. Okay. Let's get into the job of the front forks. Now, I will tell you guys, have no doubt, I already mentioned it up front, as you're listening to this podcast, this can help you with a lot of different suspension installs and things we learn and things you'll need to do. I think that it's fair to say, unless you've done this before, you're definitely going to need our video. It can be, with the video, it will make it very easy, of course, in true law-abiding biker fashion, step by step. We're not going to skip anything. We're going to show you tips and tricks and just the right order and exactly how to do things. We're going to give you options on how you do things. So again, we filmed it, and I am in the edit of that, but it will be eventually out. But yeah, it'll be very helpful to have that video, and it will list that video, of course, on our store listing once we get that. Even if it's not published, it'll still be unlisted on the store, so people that buy it can get it. We'll have to remember that. At least you can get a free install video right with it, right there on the page. But let's go ahead and dive into some of the processes and things you're going to learn by watching the tutorial video.
Okay. And real quick, just before we get there, as you mentioned earlier, your bike and mine to a lesser degree get put on the back burner because we're always doing projects on other people's bikes. But we noticed this spring that your bike had a leak in the right front fork seal. And that's kind of what spurred this on. We figured if we're tearing this bad boy apart anyways, let's do suspension while we're at it. So the first
Good point.
Just kind of, and this is not going to be completely step by step because it's audio. Obviously, the video will walk you through everything, but this will give you a good idea, and hopefully, maybe it'll encourage you if you've been thinking about doing it, just doing it yourself. But
yeah, you could save a lot of money.
Yeah,
this will cost you a pretty penny at a dealership,
just because of the time.
Yep.
Yeah, you're paying for the labor. So the first thing you want to do is remove your front wheel, your front fender, the brakes, get all that stuff off of the forks. And then you need to loosen the pinch bolts on the forks. There's 3 of them. There's one set up top, or I should say there's one up top, and then there's a set down below. So there's 3 of them all together. You loosen them up, and the fork should just slide right out of there nice and easy. Yep. And then you've got that fork in your hand. You want to
get rid of your interfering. I don't know if you said that.
I did. Like I said, I wasn't going to go step by step.
I'm just throwing it in there. Stuff I remember.
You'll need to get the interfering out of your way so that you can access some of those pinch bolts and whatnot.
How about I forget the Street Glide, we did it on my Street Glide. What about the roadie? Do you have to, can you see them, the top of the forks? You
cannot see them. You're going to take some of that inner dash off. Yeah, that'll be a little bit different when we get to that, doing my bike with the Progressives.
Yep.
We're doing a cartridge kit on my bike as well, but it's a little different with the Progressive. It's a monotube, so that cartridge does dampening and rebound. It goes both directions. One side just has a spring, the other one's got the dampener in it. So we'll figure it out. It'll be good
to have a video on the Road Glide.
Yeah,
because a bulk of the install is the same because you're removing and putting the forks back on. You're taking fork cap bolts, all right?
Yeah.
So you'll have a roadie kind of to reference, and putting those 2 videos together, you should be able to install Ohlins or Progressive, whichever one you decide to go with. Yeah, that'll be good.
Good point. So you slide those forks out. They slide right out of the triple tree. And then you need to take the top cap off. And this sucker is under pressure. You got a spring in there. There's different ways you can do it. We've got a pretty easy trick where
we have a free video out on that. I'll look it up while you're talking about it.
We used we loosen up the top cap, and then we've got a tool that we set across it and put pressure down. One guy puts pressure down, and keep your face and head out of the way just in case it comes loose. But then the other guy can rotate the cap and turn it off and keep that pressure. It's not like insane. I believe it would go flying. I don't know if it would take an eye out, but by any means, it's definitely under pressure, and you want to be careful doing it. What's the URL there?
You know how I found it?
You did?
Do you know how I found it?
Oh, did you go to the search bar?
I did. I just went to lawabidingbiker.com. There's a big search bar on desktop right at the top right. On mobile, you just got to scroll down, and I just search fork cap bolt. And right here, how to remove and install a motorcycle fork cap bolt. And there's a video at the bottom of the article that shows you exactly how to do it. It'll work for any fork cap bolt. I'm not even going to give you the URL because it's rather long. Just go to our website or the YouTube channel and use the search box, guys. There you go, fork cap bolt. Okay.
Yeah, a lot of the videos that I watched preparing to do this job just said, be careful on doing it. It's under pressure. And then they cut, and next thing you know, it's unscrewed.
We learned that when we were doing Oscar's front forks, which that video has been out for some time. His wasn't a cartridge kit, but a lot of it's the same.
Yeah, the taking it apart is pretty similar. Yeah.
So make sure you go over and search for that video too, because we have already we released that, right?
Yeah, that's out.
It is, okay, yeah. That's Oscar's bike. We did front complete rebuild and internals. So check that video out. That's out for free right now. That would get you a large part of the way there.
Absolutely. So once you get those bad boys out, you take the top cap off. Then you remove the stock spring and fluid. So pull the spring out, set it aside, and then turn that bad boy upside down and pour all the fluid out. It can be a little bit of a messy job. So a good sized tub to
there's some guts that
turn
fall
the
out
guts into, and yeah,
right.
It's nice. I think you had a round tub that was probably 24 inches around or something like that. It made it nice to just pour everything into. That gets everything out of the top part of it, but you still have stuff that's going to be still attached to the bottom part of the fork. And so there is a bolt on the bottom, and depending on the year of your bike, it's a different size. I think the pre-14s are like a 6 millimeter, and wasn't it 12 millimeter if I'm right?
I think so.
That. It was quite a bit bigger.
I think so, yeah.
Quite a bit bigger bolt on the 14. But
the pre-14s too had the bolt up in there a ways. So we bought a specialty Allen, which is a long Allen on a socket. We found out with the new bikes, it is a different size. We mentioned all this in the video. 12 millimeter, and you don't need the long one.
It's right there.
It's right
Easy
there.
to access.
You don't have to get up in there.
Now, ideally, when you back that bolt off, it'll screw right out of the bottom part of the suspension.
Theoretically,
but it may or may not. If the guts spin on you, you could have your buddy grab the top part of the fork, extend it, and put some pressure on to hold it. And same thing when you go put it back together. Sometimes you got to kind of extend stuff to
hold
get
some
pressure against it so it'll tighten up. It doesn't take a whole lot of torque. I can't remember the torque specification on it, but it's something like 16 foot-pounds or something. It wasn't a huge amount, but a little trick there. And once you take that bolt out of the bottom, now the rest of the stuff will come out, the rest of the suspension. On this particular bike, do you want to go into this first?
Whenever.
Okay, go ahead.
Oh, do it.
Hey, Bikeaholics, Zero. Oh, wait a minute. Hey, Bikeaholics, searching for new and exciting motorcycle products? Zero 3D has products you dream about for your bike. Check out their wide variety of innovative products for Harley-Davidson and Honda Goldwing motorcycles. Zero 3D has got your back with chrome and black parts, lighting, and other comfort products. No modifying, cutting, grinding, or welding for an easy installation. That equals less time installing and more time riding. Zero 3D has a design team of riders with over 40 years of experience with a passion for design and innovation. Zero and Gold Strike are the motorcycle LED lighting innovators for CAN bus plug-and-play system compatibility. They pride themselves on great customer service. Got a question? Get in touch with them via email at sales@zero3d.com or give them a call at 715-808-0027. Check out your local Harley or Honda dealership and ask for Zero or Gold Strike parts. A new leader has emerged, so check out Zero 3D's custom line of Gold Strike products for the all-new Honda Goldwings. Better yet, help support us. Head on over to lawabidingbiker.com/store and check out our full line of Zero 3D products.
All right, let's dive back in. Where were we?
Somewhere around there. I don't know.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, there we go. Taking that bottom bolt out, get the rest of the OEM parts out. Now you've got this thing essentially empty. You do want to set the OEM on this particular kit. You want to set the OEM top out spring aside. You're going to reuse that.
It's the only part.
Well, yeah, technically.
Besides the fork outers and stuff. And you could reuse, talk about fork seals and whether,
I'll get there.
Okay.
Yeah. So if you were not going to replace your fork seals, the only thing you'd need to set aside and keep an eye on is that top out spring. If you do take your forks apart and replace the fork sliders and the seals, then there is a bottom out cup. I think that's what it's called, or there's another piece that's in the bottom of the forks between the upper and the lower. That will not come out or come loose if you're just doing a job and not replacing your seals. But if you do pop your seals and replace them, you need to keep that piece as well. With your bike, obviously the reason we were tearing into it was you had a leaky fork seal. And so we replaced both yours. And in fact, when we ordered a seal kit for your bike, we just ordered one for mine too. Mm-hmm. Mine's not leaking, but it's similar vintage, not quite as high on mileage, but it's just good insurance for, I can't remember, $60 or something, a complete rebuild kit for the front forks. We just suggest that you do it right away. There is one tool that you would need, which would be a seal
fork slide hammer.
Yeah, slide
fork
hammer.
seal slide hammer, yeah.
And because if you don't have that, you're not going to seat that thing in properly. So you would need the hammer and or driver, I think is what they call it, fork seal driver, and a fork seal set.
And of course, on our video and article that we do on this, we will link to the exact tools that we used some reasonably priced versions so that you guys can get the, like the fork seal hammer and that kind of stuff. We've kind of got a universal one that fits many different sizes, and then then you can get the different ones. Lurch also bought us one that's very specific to the size of our forks.
Yeah, you had a 41 millimeter seal driver, and then you had the universal kit, which works, definitely got the job done. But then I ordered for when we did my bike just because the other one kind of was a little bit difficult to use.
It's not as easy, but if you're only doing forks once in a while,
it'd be worth it.
It'd be worth the universal, yeah.
Absolutely. But I got the upgraded 49 millimeter one, just so it'll be a little bit easier when we go to do my bike. But absolutely, there'll be links in these show notes to the tools that we used. So again, we really recommend that when you're doing it, why not just go the extra step and replace your fork seals? Now, if it's a brand new bike and you've only got a few hundred miles on it, maybe not.
Right.
We'll leave that decision up to you. But once you get those seals done or not, then you start working out putting this thing back together. If you did not take your upper and lower part and do your seals, then that bottom cup's already in there. You got nothing to worry about. You just have to drop in your top out spring. If you did take it apart, make sure that you put that that bottom bushing in, and then your top out spring. Then you install the cartridge. It just drops in. And on top of the OEM top out spring, and you then screw it in through the bottom to attach it. Again, if it's just spinning on you, you can have your buddy open up the fork legs and put a little pressure on it, and you can get it tightened down. And now you've got the cartridge installed. And after that, you need to put in oil. And there's a little trick to exercise the fork leg. So you take the upper part of the fork and exercise about 10 times. And then you grab the cartridge and do the same thing. And you can tell when
you're pumping it in and out. When he says exercises, you're just putting the lower or the upper into the lower, pumping it down in there.
And all you're doing is removing the air, pushing the air out. And especially with the cartridge, the Ohlins cartridge, as you're pumping it, it'll feel really loose, and it starts getting stiffer and stiffer, and you can hear the air going out of it. And after about 10 times, you'll
so as you're pumping it, it's getting stiffer and stiffer?
Yeah, exactly.
Interesting.
Yeah.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. There we go. One for me.
After you're done exercising the leg and the cartridge, you get out of the air out, then you need to set the air gap, and I'll try to explain what that is. With the upper fork tube in the low down, all the way in the down position, correct me if I'm wrong because I didn't put the number in, but I think it was 140 millimeters.
I wouldn't remember.
I believe. Pay attention to your instructions, but I believe on this one you said 140 millimeters of air gap, and what that means is you got 140 millimeters of air on top of the oil to
with
the
your
top
fork all the way extended,
all the way down,
or all the way down.
Because we originally this is our first time doing one of these, and we did it with the fork all the way up and measured it, and then we had way too much fork and had to adjust it. So we learned these things as we go along, and by the time we edit it and put our video together, we've made it easy for you. We've already figured it out. So with that upper leg all the way down, you set it at 140 millimeters, meaning that the top of the oil is 140 millimeters down from the top of that upper leg, upper tube. There are tools that you can use. We bought one. Gap tools. We've got one.
We didn't have it at the time of the video. We're going to show you a more easy way or non-cost way to do it.
Right.
Yeah, with what you have around your shop already. Yeah.
More economical way to do it.
Yeah.
But you can just overfill it, and then you set this tool. It's got a length of tube that goes down into the fork with a little plate on top, and then you just suck the oil out until you get a little bit of air in the pump, and then you've sucked it all out.
And we'll link to this tool too. Just can make it easier.
It works, especially if you're doing a lot of these jobs. It'll be a lot. It'll be nicer. You will use more fluid. We ended up just pouring it in until we got to 140. So we didn't.
Although you can put that fluid right back in the jug.
You could, as long as because
it's clean
and everything. Yeah. Sure, fair enough. So we show you how to do it without one, but you can definitely do it with one. Once you get your air gap set, then you install the spring that comes with the kit. Again, depending on your bike and your weight and everything, there's different springs you want to go with. Put that bad boy in there, and then there's a guide ring that goes on top of the spring, and the next is a preload tube. Now, there in this kit, there was 2 particular sizes of tubes, preload tubes, and it depended on whether or not you had a fairing on the bike. So obviously, a bike with a fairing is going to weigh a little bit more than one without. So the shorter preload tube is what we used on the fairing bike. If you didn't have a fairing, you'd use a little bit longer preload tube.
Okay.
And there are a couple specialty tools that you need for this job. One's called the cartridge pickup tool, and the other one is it's a stopper plate. And what you do is you use the screw the pickup tool onto the top of the cartridge. You lift it up, and there's a nut on it that you slide the stopper plate between the nut and the top of the preload tube. Mm-hmm. And you run that nut all the way down, and now you can attach your top cap. Screw your top cap all the way until it stops. Then you back your nut up to the top cap and lock it. Once you got that locked, then you can slide the tube out of the way.
Yeah, and the tool.
And actually, you have to once you get the stopper plate on, then you remove the tool, the pickup tool, and then install the cap. Don't
worry, this is all going to be in our video. And I'll also say that these tools, not everybody will have them. Once you have them, you have them. But we will have these available in our store. At the time of purchase, you can add on the tools.
They're not very expensive. And it makes the job much easier.
Yep. Yeah, these specific tools are by Ohlins, and we just bought the tools with the kit. Right? Yeah.
We added it on.
We added it on, yeah.
Absolutely. So once you got that all set, then you can pull that stop plate out of the way. Now, the preload on the cap is all the way out, so it makes it a little bit easier now to, what you do is then slide the upper leg to the top cap and you screw it on. It's actually pretty easy because you've got no preload added.
Yeah, your fork cap bolt isn't
all
creating the preload like your basic standard preload based on your spring size, like a lot of suspensions do. That's how Oscar's was. Mm-hmm. And
much
it had
easier
a spacer
to put on than take off. Right?
So then you got to take your spacer. Yeah, you got to cram it down in there and try to, which we have a trick for doing, but this did make it a lot easier in that regard.
Yeah, it just didn't have the full preload on it because the preload adjustment on the top of the cap was all the way out.
Yep.
So you then screw that in, and once you get
that replaces your fork cap bolt, guys. By the way, your stock fork cap bolt's now gone because that is a preload and dampening adjuster and fork cap bolt all in one.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and so it's got a 14 millimeter nut on it. You run that in all the way, and then for you on your bike, it was all the way down was where we needed to set it. So that made it very easy. Just turn that 14 millimeter nut until it bottomed out.
And again, these particular specifications that we're talking about were for my weight and bike, and that can be found in the very detailed guide. And then you can play with it from there. Mm-hmm. They're just recommend, and then you can screw around with it, which we did a little bit with my rear, which we'll talk about.
We did with the rear.
When we get to the rear. The front we pretty much left.
Pretty much left as it was.
Yeah.
So then now you got the rebound dampening. It's a little 2.5 or 3 millimeter Allen head that's inside of that 14 millimeter nut I was just talking about. You back that all the way out, and then you turn it in 12 clicks is where they recommend, and that was good. You liked it there.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
So that's where we left it. Then now it's time to put that bad boy back in. So you just
all your stuff. Yep.
Put all your shit back on.
Your forks and fender and wheel and brakes and calipers and all that kind of stuff, or your calipers. But yeah, again, our video step by step, no skipping steps. That includes everything to the wheel, axle, speed sensors, everything, guys. I guarantee even the videos from the suspension companies are not as good as ours is going to be. We're pretty proud of it. It's going to take a lot of editing.
Yeah.
And we have a lot of files. But once I get it in an organized fashion, it's going to be a great video. I'm excited to put it out because I know that it's going to help a ton of bikers out there. And like we always say, if you guys appreciate that, the amount of work that goes in, we don't like to put out junk, as you guys know, like a lot of YouTube videos out there. Certainly consider. We do humbly appreciate it, purchasing Ohlins from our store or Progressive. Just bikers trying to help bikers, and that helps us continue down the road to where we can continue to make these podcasts and put in the amount of time that's required to not only install these things, but film them and then put them in an organized video and article for you guys. So there you go. That's all I'll say on that. Thanks for your support.
Yeah, we found as we prepare to do these jobs and do these videos, we ourselves look at videos too to kind of see what we're doing. And too often we have to put together 5 or 6 videos, and
then still have questions like this one. We're like, oh my God, why can't somebody just do one nice, informative, very detailed video? Well, that's us.
Yeah.
I guess that's us.
We could be lazy and just show you how to do the installing the cartridges and say, and watch our wheel video, but we show you every step. We walk you through it all. So you got everything in one spot.
Yeah. The other thing too, that we find a lot is, and you guys do too out there, is I feel like I'm fairly decent at instructing. I like to tell people why. The why. Don't just say, and you turn this 14 clicks. Why am I turning it 14 clicks instead of 15 clicks? So we, in our videos, we actually explain why you're doing what you're doing instead of just telling you what to do and leaving you scratching your head going, what if I did this instead? We're very proud of it. This video, like all our videos, and can't wait to get it out to help you guys. So front suspension, back on. And my fork seal's not leaking anymore.
Yep.
That's a good thing. My right one was leaking.
Yeah, that's correct.
And if you guys don't know what that looks like, well, it looks like a leaking fork. But I was riding down the road and oil from the fork was blowing in the wind, and it was actually hitting my leg a little bit. And then, air cleaner, I saw a little bit, and then you could see it on the fork itself. Yeah. It was just dripping and blowing in the wind, and I noticed it one day, and then it seemed like it had kind of stopped.
It did,
which forks can seals. They can get something in them, right? And then work its way out, but nonetheless, not something you want to be leaking, and especially prepping for a 4,000-mile ride.
No.
So we figured it was time, and that spurred me to spend a bunch of money on suspension. No, it is not cheap. I agree, guys, but I can tell you when I get to the end, whether I think it was worth the upgrade and the money that was spent on it. All right, let's do this, and then we're going to get into rear suspension, right?
You do that one because I'm looking something up.
Hey, Bikeaholics, you searching for the easiest and quickest detachable luggage system for your motorcycle? Rick Rack has just what you're looking for. Forget all those frustrating straps and bungee cords that can come loose and slap your paint. Check out one of Rick Rack's quick attach strapless luggage rack systems. Yep, this father-son team designed something really special. You can't find it anywhere else. Yep, these guys ride, so they truly understand the needs of bikers. The Rick Rack quick attach system is strong, durable, and secure with a lockable system. Also, check out their full line of quality touring bags to accompany your quick detach system. Once you use Rick Rack, you'll never go back. What are you waiting for, Bikeaholics? Head over to the Law Abiding Biker Store and check out our full line of Rick Rack systems and bags. And don't forget, keep checking back over there, guys, because if you want to get your hands on one, you got to keep checking back to the store and pick it up as soon as they're in stock, because at the time of this podcast, there are still supply chain issues across the board with not only motorcycle industry, but many different industries. All right. So you want to talk about what you picked for the rear of my bike and why, and pricing, and we'll go from there.
Okay, yeah, we went with the what they call the Harley S36 Blackline Twin Shocks. The model of this one in particular is the HD776. They are not cheap. They're $999. One thing to mention is we went with a 13-inch rear shock. Something that I hadn't considered, and you can talk about it as well, but I hadn't considered the difference in ride between a 12-inch and a 13-inch. We both have specials. You a Street Glide, me a Road Glide. And, the specials come with that 12-inch shock, gives it that cool look. But now that where I really learned about it was through the King of the Baggers, the ST models were coming with 13s. Why is a ST versus Street Glide? Why does it have a 13? We got a chance to talk with some of the engineers. Obviously, you got another inch of travel, so it's going to give you some improved suspension there. But it also puts the bike in a different position. It gets a little more weight forward and makes it dive into the corners easier, gives you a little bit more lean angle. And so after riding the ST, both you and I said, oh, yeah, 13 is the way to go. And the truth is, it doesn't change the look that much. I was riding behind you.
I don't think you could unblindfold somebody.
No, I don't think you could. I was riding behind you in Fuente. Fuente's got a 12-inch shock. You got a 13-inch shock. I couldn't tell the difference. You sure can tell it when you're riding it.
Yeah.
So we decided to go with the 13-inch shock on yours. These S36 Blackline shocks are definitely the high-end shocks. They are nitrogen charged, gas charged. They high pressured. You can adjust the rebound dampening. You can adjust the preload. So just a whole lot of adjustment for you. And again, if you use the little calculator on Ohlin's website, it'll show you how to adjust it. So we adjusted it at, I think it was 22 millimeters. And the way you measure that is from the top of the threads on the shock down to the collar. And you just adjust it up and down. You can add more or less preload. We ended up adding a little bit more to yours. And then you can also adjust the rebound. I think it was, you back it all the way out, and what they recommend starting with was 20 clicks. You backed it out another 3 to 17 clicks to give you a little bit more rebound and dampening. Mm-hmm. So there's a lot of dialing it in there. Pretty easy job. I mean, seriously, you're just unbolting, 2 bolts and putting in some spacers on the new shocks and bolting them on. So that in itself is a pretty easy job.
Besides, you'll want to have, the only thing I'll say on that is a lift and mini jack is super helpful. At least a mini jack. You're going to need something. Well, you're going to need 2 jacks.
Yeah.
But not necessarily. You can, but it will make it easier. The reason is you have to have your bike off the ground, and then you have to have a jack under the wheel, because to line the axle or to line the shocks up to bolt to the struts and the swing arm, to get those all lined up, you got to jack the back wheel up and down, and it can be quite finicky. Trying to hold it or pry it up. You can with a pipe, like pry it up, but this is a 2 people thing a lot. It really helps to have 2 people and a couple jacks.
Yeah. So if you're going to a 12-inch shock, if you're going 12-inch aftermarket on a 12-inch, a special, it's a lot easier. I mean, you can essentially unbolt one and put the new one on, then go the other side. But
we've still had problems lining them up without.
It can be difficult.
You still have to line it up, because once you drop them, it drops all the way out.
Yeah,
you got to bring it back up.
So with a mini jack, you can lift it up until you take the pressure off, and if you're going with standard shocks and you're not changing sizes, it can be finicky, but it's easier. Now, when you're going from a 12-inch to a 13-inch, then that's when those extra jacks and extra hands come in handy. And in fact, even on this one, we had to, because you can adjust the length on these Ohlins as well a little bit. And it was from the factory, one was just a little bit longer than the other. By the time you put it on the bike, it probably wouldn't have felt it at all, but it was just enough that we had to adjust it one turn to make it a little easier to get it on. But pretty easy install, especially with our video. We'll show you all the tips and tricks. But wow, what a difference now these things have made. Before you kind of get into your review, I'll just say that I got the opportunity to jump on your bike. We were running we're not going to Don Cheo's for lunch. And I jumped on it, and we hit some railroad tracks down on First Street, North Yakima there. And usually it's pretty jarring on the stock suspension. Didn't even feel it.
Yeah.
I didn't even feel it at all. It just floated over those railroad tracks. And you were on my bike, and granted, I'm heavier, and I got a tour pack, so I got my preload set a lot higher. But you came up off the seat on my bike, and I didn't even feel the thing. Such great suspension. Now, the stock setup was great for me. I would have left it right where it was. Like I mentioned, you added a little bit more preload, or took out a little bit of preload, and added a little more dampening to it. But man. And that's all I wrote. It was just down that little bit to lunch, and I was sold. I'm like, I need to start ordering some suspension for my bike. And before you get into your review, just a little thing for the audience. We are going to do progressive rear suspension and front suspension on my bike, and so we'll have another installation video and review on that. Give you some options. The progressive has been around a long time. They're not cheap either, but they are a little bit more economical than the Ohlins. So look forward to that. If you're not subscribed to the YouTube channel, get over there, subscribe, so you can get notified when those new videos come out.
There you go.
Now, you've taken these on a 4,000-mile cross-country tour. Give us your overall thoughts, impressions, review, whatever you want to call it.
All right. So first thing I want to say before I do that is, the mini jacks, guys, don't forget, if anything, just you can get the Titan mini jacks. We need to get another one, by the way. I want to have two of them.
Right, yeah.
But you can get it right from the Law Abiding Biker store. And if you're interested in a lift, we'd love to get a lift on the way. But at minimum, a couple mini jacks would be very helpful for you. With that said, before I give my complete... Oh, the other thing I wanted to say is talking about the preload and dampening and all that. Also, same thing as the front. There is a chart, and it gets you in the ballpark where you could just leave it based on weight and whether you have a passenger. And it is easy to adjust. So if you ride with a passenger and then you're not riding with a passenger, you can adjust it the correct amount of or correct clicks, or whether you're riding with luggage or not. I'm pretty much leaving mine right where it is. I'm not going to adjust it back and forth whether I have luggage. I've tested it with and without, and it's kind of a sweet spot in there for me where I don't have to adjust it each time I have luggage or don't have luggage. I kind of like to find that sweet spot in there because although it's easy, I just don't like dicking with stuff or I'll just forget anyways. So if I can find that sweet spot, that's what I do. So before I give you my full review, let's do this. Want to ride longer? Treat your ass with some respect already. Get hooked up with a premium butt buffer seat cushion. Yep, this company of bikers developed a super thin hospital-grade seat cushion made of solid and elastic materials. And it's unlike gel pads that will leak if punctured. The butt buffer is designed not to slide around in your street, fits all motorcycles, installs in seconds, easy cleans, and helps to dampen those gall-darn vibrations. With plenty of models to choose from, they assure you'll have a comfortable ass when riding. Head over to lawabidingbiker.com/store. Check out our full line of butt buffer seat cushions. Lurch is turning his computer and showing me something, and I can't read it from that distance.
Look what's in my cart here.
Oh,
We've
nice.
got a Titan mini jack live on the podcast.
Sweet.
As the boss says, do it. I did it. So
nice.
We got another mini jack coming, brother.
And the reason we did that, guys, is we have the Titan lift XL12. I can't remember what the...
I think it's the 1000, XLT 1000.
1000, yeah, XLT 1000 that we've had. You see it in all our videos. It's lifted thousands of times up and down for film shots, up and down, up and down. But we have one mini jack, and it'd be nice to have two. The reason is on my suspension project is we were in between film projects, and we were waiting for this or that or the other thing. And we had my front up off the lift with the mini jack, and then we needed to do the rear, and I had to use an old cheap jack to try to get the rear up. So if you're doing a project where you need front and rear off the lift and you can do multiple projects at a time, that's why I want another one, because we got a lot of stuff going on. So
yeah, that is the 1000D XLT is the lift that we use.
Yep. And it is pneumatic. That one, I think, just pneumatic. I tell you, if you want to know if it's been tried or tested, holy shit.
It's still running.
Because it gets as much use as a shot, probably because a lot of film shots up and then down and then up and then down. And then, so it's like working all the time like a shop would, just because of the amount of times it's up and down. Haven't done a damn thing to it. Just keeps working. It just works. So, all right, guys, I'll tell you this. My final review of this Ohlins mentioned suspension on my bike. I went into it expecting a difference from my stock suspension, but not having ever had new suspension on it, I guess I didn't have a good meter to do that with. So I was like, it's going to be cool. We need a video on it. We're going to be selling Ohlins if it works well. And so, why not do it? Why not do it on my bike? I got a forky, seal, forky seal, a leaky seal.
Got a forky
I got a forky sealy, leaky seal. And let's get in there and get this all fixed up before our trip. And plus, it'll give me a good opportunity over 4,000 miles and 10 days to test this stuff. Okay, so I was absolutely blown away when I didn't realize how much difference good suspension over stock suspension can make. I didn't realize it would be that much better, and I can tell you that very first day we rode, it was that much better. it made me quickly question myself on why I had waited so long and so many years to do suspension. I definitely wish I would have done it earlier and in future bikes at some date when I sell my 14. And I can't see that forthcoming anytime soon. I will be doing suspension right away on a bike. It probably made one of the biggest differences in rideability that you can do to your motorcycle for touring rideability, cornering, street. I wanted suspension, obviously for the ride, but also we talked about a little bit. I wanted, more aggressive cornering abilities. I ride fairly, confidently, and I wanted better cornering ability, and I wanted that overall suspension, less of the wobble in the rear. And if you guys know, if you're pushing corners hard and you're riding fast, even the new bikes, yes, they will. Even the Street Glide ST, the new Street Glide ST, when I was testing it, I could push it hard enough to get a little bit of wobble in the back. Now, if you're used to that, you know how to ride with it and go with it, but it's still not a great feeling. And so I wanted some of that gone with better suspension in the rear. And I will tell you that this suspension unbelievably solved all those problems. Yes, I'll be quite honest, I can still push it to a point where I'll get just a little bit, but it's a quarter of what it was, the actual wobble. And man, I'm telling you, to even bottom this stuff out, we hit some really, really crappy roads over in Duluth. And
yeah, the surface streets had some huge potholes.
Horrible.
Good Lord.
And then we rode, I forget what highway it was, but remember after we left that restaurant near East Glacier, and we rode that highway that you and Daryl did not. Mm-hmm. Whatever highway that was.
15 or whatever.
I can't remember. But it was pretty dippy, and it had a lot of, fixings.
Yeah.
Asphalted over. It really tested my suspension. And man, this stuff, guys, just floats. I don't get jarred in the back. It's still amazing when I go over things. Now I purposely try to hit manhole covers, and because it just impresses me every time. Instead of going around manhole covers and things, I aim for them. I aim for potholes. It's very amazing the amount of difference this Ohlins suspension, especially dialed in and adjusted. Now, man, it's a good feeling. It's interesting because when you have stock suspension, and I'll do it oftentimes because it's just what I do when I'm bored. But we'll stop at an intersection. I'll let the clutch out and then ram on my front brake, and the forks will dip down really a lot. Now with the Ohlins, the first day we went out, I tested it and I let the clutch out, got going a little bit, and then jammed on the front brake to dip it. It is stiffer, which is what you want, especially for cornering ability and stuff. However, it rides better. So I know that's weird.
Yeah,
it was weird to me. I go, it should be stiffer because this is harder, but that's the dampening and everything in there.
Yeah, that's the progressive spring in there. That's the dampening and all that.
Yeah, the progressive spring. Yep.
It allows. Yeah, it's stiff until you hit a hard bump, then it absorbs that
to a certain point.
Yeah, it absorbs the big bumps, but it also feels stiffer when you ride. And I was in the middle of ordering that Titan mini lift, so I'm not sure if you talked about it, but also on the front end. In the corners, you got less walking around, right?
Yeah, no, it's much going into corners. You can really dive into corners.
Doesn't float.
Yep, doesn't float as much. The whole bike doesn't float as much. Right. It holds a lot, sticks truer to corners. Yeah, good point. Just an amazing overall for performance. Now, I did go with the 13-inch, and like Lurch mentioned earlier, I could blindfold you, bring you out. I don't think anybody can really tell the difference. A lot of, that's the Street Glide. I mean, the Ultras and everything sit at the 13 inches. Every other bike, it's just the Street Glide Special. And a lot of people say it has a lower look. It's so hard to notice. And you'll ask, did I even notice when I put the 13? It's 1 inch. Did I notice anything when I stop as far as being flat-footed? No. But I'm 5'8", and I have no problem being flat-footed on my 2014 Street Glide Special. At 13 inches, I didn't have any problem. I didn't even think about it or notice it. But I definitely notice that I can lean harder and drag less. Just with that extra inch, it makes a difference on lean angle. So I was very happy to go with 13 inch, especially after riding and reviewing the Street Glide ST. Make sure you guys check out that video. It's on the YouTube channel and the website. Full review of the 2022 Street Glide ST. But overall, I can't say a bad thing about the Ohlins suspension that we put in there. I'm in love with it. And in fact, we saved my stock rear shocks. You know, when you sell a bike, we talked about it. A lot of parts we throw away because it's just too much labor involved to take them off when you sell it. But I will definitely, the rears are pretty easy. The fronts will leave because that's guts and all. It wouldn't be worth the time and money. But the rear, definitely, I'll be taking those bad boys off and putting my stock back on and then taking those with me to my new bike if the fitment is right, or passing them around to somebody that needs them because it's pretty easy to get those off and back on. But yeah, that's my full review. I tell you guys, I guarantee you will not be disappointed if you decide to get and install the Ohlins suspension. I would go both front and rear if you're going to do it, and just do it all as one big package. And our videos should help you out immensely on that. Now, we appreciate our patron members. We want to get to know you better. That's right. We want you in the private Facebook group. We want to get you benefits. But hey, the only way you want to support us right now is through a flat donation when we never balk. Out of flat donation, I want to thank Alan Render, Jamie Kalinsky of Wisconsin Rapids, Wisconsin, also a top-tier patron, amazing top-tier patron, and donating. Unbelievable. Douglas Emerson, lawabidingbiker.com/donate. Or you can go to the homepage, and there's a big donate button on the right-hand side, or you can scroll down on mobile. There you go. Any final thoughts, Lurch? I can't wait to get your Progressive going and getting that installed and filmed and all that kind of stuff, and then you can see how the ride is.
Yeah, I'm excited. We got Progressive for my Road Glide Special, my 2015, and my 22 KLR 650. Got Progressive for that as well, for the front at least. So keep an eye out for that stuff. There
you go, guys. Appreciate you being here. With that said, we're going to roll out of here. We'll be recording another episode right after this, and it will be on... make sure you check that episode out. It may be before this or after it, I'm not sure, but it will be all about, we did a recent wheel bearing replacement, both front and rear on my 14 Street Glide Special before we went on the trip. I had a bad rear bearing on top of it. We're going to talk everything about ABS sensor bearings and regular bearings and bearing removal tools and everything in between. And of course, we did videos on those, and so those are actually those are uploaded at the time of this podcast. No, they are not.
Not yet.
I didn't put them in edit. I put Ohlins Suspension in front. Yep, you're right. All right, guys, call to action. Make sure you get the right motorcycle windshield for your particular needs. It can make a big difference. Along with that suspension, rideability, windshields can make all the difference in the world when riding 4,000 miles in 10 days like we did. Of course, we've got you covered right in the Law Abiding Biker store with a variety of options from F4 Customs and Clockworks. That's right. If you want to support us, get your Clockworks and F4 Custom windshields directly from us. We carry clear and tinted models in every height imaginable. Whether you want pure function, just looks, or something in between, you'll be sure to find the right windshield. Head over to the Law Abiding Biker store, find your perfect windshield, and let Big Daddy Kane and Goat get it boxed up and out the door to you right now. I know they're waiting right down there right now. Big Daddy, or Goat's got a box in his hand. Big Daddy has peanuts in the other hand, a bag of peanuts. He loves his peanuts.
Oh, yeah, he does.
I didn't say his penis. I said peanuts. All right. Loves his packing peanuts. And they're ready. They're ready. They're just looking at those windshields going, which one's he going to order? Bam, the order comes in. Bam. He throws it over. Goat holds the box up. He does a basketball shot, like overhand basketball shot, NBA style, a jump shot.
Yeah. Jump shot, hook shot?
No, jump shot.
Jump shot. Okay.
Jump shot. Bam. In the box. Goat folds it up, puts peanuts. He puts the peanuts first, and then he tapes it up. That's right. And they put anything else in the package? Stickers, of course.
And one free a good time in every package.
There you go, guys. Right from the Law Abiding Biker store. We appreciate you guys supporting us over there. It has been a little difficult. We're doing well, but with supply chain issues, and you guys know, it's not just us. It's across the industry. Of course, that brings sales down significantly when you can't get stuff, and so we apologize for that. And we appreciate you, at least what is available and what you need. You're shopping right in our store. So thank you very much for that. Hey, if you can't support us financially, or you can't become a member, or whatever reason, whatever you got going on in life, there is a very easy and free way to support us. You can simply go over to iTunes, especially, or any podcast platform that you're listening on, Stitcher Radio, Spotify, all those, any of them. Make sure you leave us a 5-star review. That's right. Helps bump us up in the rankings so more bikers around the world can find us and join this thing we call the hashtag
Biker Revolution.
There you go, guys. Thanks for being here. Cranking out the content for you guys. lawabidingbiker.com/fresh-butt, BUTT.